Hi there, thanks for coming back to this episode 10 of Gravity, the Digital Marketing Agency podcast. I'm Bob Gentle, and every week I'm joined by small digital marketing agency owners and solo practitioners just like you. Whether you run your own business or you're just thinking of stepping out on your own for the first time, you're in the right place. While you get settled in, just take a moment to subscribe to this show on your player. It only takes a second and then you won't miss a single show. Do it now. In this episode, I'm speaking to Janine Capaldi, who along with her partner runs a specialist LinkedIn agency called Capaldi Marketing. Some specialise in a vertical market like Joe Burnish from episode 2, or in the financial sector like last week's guest Alex Curtis. Instead of a vertical market, Janine specialises in one platform, LinkedIn. So welcome to episode 10. Let's meet Janine. So Janine Capaldi, welcome to the podcast. I'm really excited to have you on. And why don't you just start by telling us a little bit about yourself, your agency, Capaldi Marketing, where you are and what you do.
Thanks, Rob. Yeah, it's really great to be here. So my name's Janine Capaldi, and I, along with my husband, Jamie, run Capaldi Marketing. So primarily our focus is on working with people to generate leads for their business through social selling practices. And it primarily, I work with people on how they can use LinkedIn. And I mean, it's a bit of a unique story as to how it came to be set up, in that Jamie and I have got very different backgrounds. His background is marketing and always has been, whereas my path has been through coaching and training and leadership development. And so when I left my kind of corporate life to work on my coaching business full time, I was really stuck in terms of how I could find clients and really build relationships with people. I mean, I could see I was surrounded by coaches who were established and working a lot on referral and that kind of thing. And one of the things that I found, and I know a lot of people find, is that when you invest in kind of coaching training, it's kind of all or nothing. So you're completely immersed or like submersed in this kind of world for a while of learning and growing and supporting people, and then you come out, you like emerge at the other end, and you're like, right, oh my goodness, I can really go and help people with this. But one of the things that you don't learn is actually how you're going to find your clients, how you're going to grow the relationships with clients, and dare I say, how you are going to sell your services to clients. So where I got to was really, well, actually, I know my stuff, I know what I'm doing here. And I turned to LinkedIn. To start growing relationships with people. And I really built my client base that way. And then that kind of became, more about other people wanting to see how I was doing this through LinkedIn. At which point, that's where Jamie and I came together and created the business we have now. So whilst I am coaching, much of the coaching comes through initially showing people how they can build their business.
And I'm going to jump back to the you and Jamie element, because it really is very much a partnership in the business as well. Were you married before you were in business together, or was this the fruit of a business relationship?
That's such a good question. I wasn't expecting that. That's funny. So Jamie and I have actually we've been together since for 13 years. So
Right.
so we were very much a couple before we were in business together. So so we've been together for 13 years. We've had our business together for a couple of years. So yeah, we'd already done the marriage and the children bit first before the business set up.
Yeah, business partnerships always sort of have red lights flashing for me. I think it's good to have a solid relationship before you get into that.
I think you have to, and I mean, it's the way I'm laughing about things. Don't get me wrong. Like there are moments where we completely disagree with each other, with what we're doing. But what I would say, I think there's two real key things that really work for us. Like, one is that we have, our kind of outlooks really complement each other. So, like Jamie, Jamie his background is it's all marketing, and mine is real kind of relationships and people. And so, when you put those two things together to show people how to do that for themselves, it can really work. And
Yeah,
I think the other thing is that, you don't really have any of that. And I guess this is more about between us rather than anything outward facing, is that you don't really have any of those challenging politics, because if you can't really say how you feel or point something out to somebody that's your husband or your wife, then it's going to be tricky. So you
yeah,
don't really have any of that kind of, oh, how can I frame this in a way that they're going to appreciate? Because you can just say it and get on with it and make the business better. So yeah, it works. It works well. It does work well.
good. I didn't want to skip over that because I think it is quite a unique factor in your business that you are a couple. And it would be so easy to just disregard that.
Mm.
Let's dig in a little bit to what you were doing on LinkedIn that was working so well for you that people were noticing.
Yeah. So I think what people I think what especially in the coaching space, if I can just stick with that for one moment, because
Mm.
this is a key group of people that we work with. um I think there can be, not for everybody, but there can be an assumption that you can't grow relationships through social media. That especially with coaching, where it's such a close relationship, and there's so much respect and rapport that needs to be built for it to be a real fruitful relationship for the client. Um, that I think there can be some people maybe limit themselves in some way. But I knew that for me, I wasn't getting the return I wanted from going to face networking, for example. So I'd invest a lot of time, some money on going to these networking meetings, but it wasn't getting the return I wanted. And then what I was seeing from LinkedIn was actually, there are a lot of people here. There are, millions of people here. Some of which will want to, they want me, they need me, and I want to find those people. And so, initially I did a bit, I did some initial training so that I could really apply my own approaches to, like, social media. But what I really started to do was I just started to engage. I started to engage with people and actively connect with people with purpose. Now, that didn't mean that I was just, sending people a message and saying, hi, can I be your coach? Because that would have been weird. But I was very much wanting to get to know people and understand them. And I started to build relationships. I started to build relationships that way. And then I became really, really interested in what LinkedIn was doing for me. So, by sharing my content, my own content, my views, and getting people to share their views, even if they didn't have to agree with what I was saying. But or actually, I think the thing that really started to shift for me was when I started to show a bit of my personality on LinkedIn, rather than it just being kind of stuffy, um, like factual posts and things like that. I was actually showing a bit of humor and a bit of my personality, that is when people started to, connect with me and send me those messages that say, oh, I really understand what you meant in your post today. Can we have a conversation? That was I guess that was the turning point, was, letting people to see a bit of me, as well as showing how I could help them.
One thing I'd like to maybe look at is your experience of authenticity. And authenticity is really a cliche that's bounced around quite a lot in social media terms. And I find an awful lot of people trying to manufacture their version of authenticity. What you're describing, again, it's really about expressing yourself on social media. What sort of vehicles were you using for that?
So I guess, yeah. So I think when I first started using social media, I actually, I guess a lot of people use Facebook, don't they? And don't get me wrong, I think Facebook can be great. But what I realised was that my voice wasn't really, it wasn't working for me. I was trying to, I guess I was looking at what other people were doing, and I was replicating too much. I was like, oh, that seems to be working for that person, so this is the kind of way I'll go about it. And that's, I guess, that's only going to get you so far. Is Yeah, you can certainly model what other people are doing if you like what you see and it resonates with you, but actually it's still not you. So I think it, I guess when you say like the vehicle, I think before I even got to that, it was to look at, well, what do other people say about me? And I asked them, I asked my friends and family, I asked people that I'd worked with before, like, I was asking them, well, what is it about me? Why would you listen? Why would you listen to me? Why did you choose to work with me? And one of the things that came through was, from a lot of people, where they were saying, well, you never take things too seriously, but actually, but also that I'm quite, I'm quite deep thinking in terms of emotion. Like, I tend to pull that out of people. I guess it's what drew me to coaching in the first place. And so really, once I started doing that, that's what resonated with people. And I realized I could do that through LinkedIn. I could do that using video. I could do that using posts. They're the two things. I don't tend to write, for those of you, of the listeners that do use LinkedIn, I tend not to write a lot of articles, because, um, because it's not my style. Like,
Yeah.
I find that when I get into writing too much, I start to sound less like me, and I go into this realm of like essay writing, and I have to pull myself back. But the things that come real natural to me are kind of those posts and the shorter posts and videos. Um, and so I really like to show people that I can offer something valuable to them, by, and it might, it might be quite written in a kind of humorous way, or that, I'll learn something. I think this is the other thing, is that, a lot of people that are just starting out or at the beginning of their journey feel like, well, who's going to listen to me because I'm just starting out? But actually, that is the point where so many people want to hear from you, because what you're learning is really fresh. And a lot of people forget that, like 3, 4, 5 years down the line, they forget about, the struggles, or that small thing that they tried or tweaked that actually changed a lot in their business for them. And so I think by teaching people something, by showing people something, no matter how big or small it is, that really brought my authentic voice out as well, because people started trying what I was doing. So a lot of what I was sharing was, oh, do you know what? I posted this way on LinkedIn, and it meant that my views went from this to this. Or, when I started messaging people, what I did was I drove them to this video that I'd done, because I thought they'd find it useful, and people started to do that too. So, it's just, I was sharing these real small nuggets at first, because I genuinely wanted other people to do the same thing. I think that's the thing, and I think that's the, a thing about, are you, I'm with you in that this, word authentic is used all the time. But for me, it's, if I think, well, am I being my authentic self? It will be that I'm being honest, that I'm probably, showing a bit of humor, that I'm offering something value, and that I'm okay showing a bit of vulnerability. I'm not kind of sugarcoating that, that business, running your own business is, you know, going off to the coffee shop and having a gingerbread latte every day. That's not what it's like. But it can be really fun as well. It can be fun, but it is really, it's tough, and I like to share that side too.
I think that's interesting. I mean, you see the gingerbread latte pictures all the time, but they're easy. What's really much harder is to, as you say, be genuinely yourself, so that those people who get you and want you will actually see you. That's actually very hard to do.
Yes, yes, it can be, but I think, there's some people that do it really well, and I must admit, this kind of gingerbread latte thing is something that I've spoken about with um someone, excuse me, that I work with, that I've connected with quite a lot through LinkedIn, and that kind of, that visual, that it sticks with me. It's that, people aren't. I think that it's too, like you say, it's too easy to show that. It's too easy to show that picture of, business life like that. But actually, the first few years, it's so much of it is, it can be a grind, and so much of it is mental, is your mental perseverance and mental resilience to, to keep going, but also to really look at, um, is what I'm doing bringing me closer to my goal, or am I just doing, is it just noise? Does that
Yeah.
make sense? I think it.
Oh no, it makes absolute sense. Visibility for visibility's sake can be very unproductive.
Yes, yeah, it can be, and I think, like, so I guess, because the majority of people do come to us about LinkedIn, whether it's that they want to learn how to implement things themselves, or have us run their campaigns and accounts for them. But I think, particularly when it's people that want to learn, um, the thing that I always say is that, well, the place to start is to know, well, what is it that you want to achieve, and what is your, what's your plan, what's your strategy before LinkedIn? Because, LinkedIn is the method of getting people to you. But it's no replacement for building those relationships and getting those people on the phone. And so that's something that, I'm always really clear about is, well, you need to know, well, who are the people that I'm working with? Like, what is it that I'm helping people with? Who am I speaking to there? And then, actually, what am I doing with those people through LinkedIn? That means that, like, when I do get on the phone to them, this conversation is going to be very natural, and very easy, because it's a conversation about sharing information. It's not some big old sales pitch. It's you're sharing how you can help someone. They already know that, because they've already been consuming your content, and they've already been following you. But, if you take the approach of, right, okay, so I need to get myself across all these different social media platforms, and I'm just going to post, 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 it's not sustainable, and it's not really going to do anything for you. So yeah, I think that, that's the starting point that I always want to encourage people, is to really think about, what where they want to spend their time, because actually, especially at first, you're going to have a much bigger impact just focusing on one, platform or one area, than just going off all over the place and not doing any of them really well.
So can I ask, what does a typical client engagement look like for you? I mean, you've described some of it, but maybe from your ideal client through to your deliverables and what their goals typically are?
So I mean, we have two, I guess we have two key areas in our business. So one client group that we work with is coaches and consultants, or like experts in their particular field, and they are the people that tend to want us to teach them, to show them how they can use LinkedIn for themselves. A lot of the time they'll be in their first couple of years in business, or it might be that there's somebody who a coach, for example, who is on LinkedIn but just isn't getting the traction, isn't getting any results from it. So the way in which we will help them is either through we have online courses, we have a group program that we run a couple of times a year, or we do some one-to-one consultancy. So that from that way, it's very much a kind of teaching and coaching approach to those people. And then the other core area of our business is working with sales teams. So and actually, interestingly, the businesses here they're really varied, ranging from like training organisations to manufacturing suppliers and that kind of thing. But these are teams that either want us to go in and do team training with their sales teams so that they can really utilize LinkedIn to sell, ultimately to generate leads. I mean, this is primarily what people want. They want to generate leads through growing real relationships with people. That I would say that
Yeah.
with both groups, that's what they want. They want to be able to grow their business in a real way. And with the sales teams, that can look very different, because it will either be going in and delivering a day or a couple of days of training, often with kind of follow up and accountability like sessions afterwards. Or it can be that we go and manage people's accounts for them. Some people don't have the time, do they? They want the result, but they don't have the time or the inclination to learn how best to do it. So we'll manage that in house for them. But yeah, the common thread with all of these is, they want to generate business in a real way with real people, knowing that this approach is, as I said before, isn't a replacement for getting on the phone with people. It's a means to establishing yourself as that person, that go-to person. You've already started to grow the relationship with people through LinkedIn, through your content and messages, and now it's time to have a call and see how we can work together. That's the ultimate goal.
And I guess the budgets reflect the various intensities of your engagement.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's great for us as a business model, in that we have, this retainer um, retainer base of clients who continue to work with us. No one's left. No, no one's left us ever. So that's really good.
That is quite something.
No one's left us yet. So that's I think that says something. So yeah, we have our retaining client base, which brilliant group of people that we work with, all really varied, real different industries. It's great. But then we have the side of things that where we've talked about this earlier, where they people kind of almost pass through, right? So they, in some situations, we will have people that will come back for, they might do our online course and then decide, actually, I want some further coaching. Or they might look at one of our other courses and think, oh, do you know what, actually I want to be on the list for that one. So when that starts, they might buy from us again there. So I feel like people do, they do often stay with us, but really it was so that we could we can satisfy two areas. And not everybody some people want to learn it themselves. some people want to do that interaction themselves, and don't always, they don't always have, the monthly retainer fee available to have someone do it for them. They want to pay and learn and then be able to go and implement. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good model that sometimes needs some adjustment and tweaks, because Jamie and I both like to create, we both like to create content a lot. So you have to manage that. Manage the bits that you love with the bits that are, okay, I guess make the business sense. So but yeah, I feel like we've got got the balance there between what we can offer people depending on yeah, where they can get in really.
And I guess because you productized elements of it, it allows you to be able to scale without necessarily having to throw people into the mix. You don't have to scale by adding more staff. You can scale by driving more business through the more productized elements of
Yeah,
what you do.
that's right. That's right. I mean, I would say that one of the best things we did was develop the course, um,
Hmm.
because that came out of um, us running a group program through the summer, and then taking all of that content that we had delivered to this group live, and kind of recording it and like editing it all out as a full on online course. So from a kind of repurposing perspective, it was brilliant because you weren't starting from scratch by any means. You already had it all there. We already had it all there. But it also means that when someone purchases the course from us, our work is pretty much done. I mean, we have a group that where people can come and engage with us like constantly for when they have questions. But yeah, you're not kind of showing everybody again and again and again. It's there for people to go at their own pace. So yeah, that's you don't need to go and hire more team members to go and deliver this, to go and deliver this stuff. It's I would say it's the retainer clients that are they're more labor intensive, but that's they pay more, and so why shouldn't they be, it makes sense that we're putting more time and effort into that area that um generates more money.
Yeah.
And then I would say that the people that buy our courses and come on our group programs require more nurturing beforehand, in the run up. So yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting mix because yeah, they do. There's more time and effort that goes into nurturing that side of our audience for sure. So it's yeah, always good to understand your audience and what they need from you.
So what's next for Capaldi Marketing? Where do you want to go with things? I think the cliche question is always, where do you see yourself in 2 or 5 years' time?
Yeah, it's a really great question, and I mean, next year is we're going to be running things internally in a slightly different way. So I don't know if you've read the book, the 12-week year by Brian Moran. Yeah,
Yeah.
um, so I mean, I've only very recently come to this book, but the way that the book kind of illustrates how you can set your goals is very much like doing it in 12-week increments. So you have your have your bigger vision certainly, but with focusing on a couple of key objectives in your every 12 weeks, that you're more productive and you're more focused on what you're doing, and so we've actually decided that we're gonna internally, this is how we're gonna run our business through the next annual year, to see how this works for us. So but yeah, the next couple of years it will be certainly more products coming from us in terms of courses. Yeah, for sure, that is something that we know that's our area to develop, because people love them, and I want something to be. We also want something that's going to serve our current clients to move up to the next level, which isn't just kind of one-to-one work with us. So I would say definitely more online products and services. The retainer things will continue because we love that. And I guess I would also say that it's I would say that somewhere in there's going to be something to do with live events as well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that's going to happen this year, but I've got a big history of organising events through the coaching and leadership development work that I did before setting up my own business. And so it's I think sometimes people can go into events with an interesting vision, but not really understanding what happens on the run up to an event.
Yeah, events are hard.
Yeah, they're tough, but they're amazing. They can be really, they can to come out of an event kind of I think the aim is for someone to come out of an event feeling absolutely exhausted by the amount of knowledge and information they've gained and excited about what they're going to implement. So the idea of being able to put that kind of thing on for someone is really interesting. But yeah, really it's building on our services. It's not just LinkedIn, but people know us more at the moment about LinkedIn. So I think it's LinkedIn and showing the other social media marketing areas that we can help people with.
Janine, we should probably start wrapping up. I guess one important thing is if people do want to connect with you, how would you like them to do that?
So if people want to come and connect with me, you can come and find me on LinkedIn. So it's Janine Capaldi, and there's only 2 Janine Capaldis on LinkedIn, so it's pretty easy to find me. But then I'd also say if people if people are interested in LinkedIn in particular, and how they could get started, or perhaps it's not really working for them, and they want some help, then they might want to go and check out. We've got a 7-day email course. So if they go to people go to capaldimarketing.com /gravity. You see what I've done there with the line?
I do.
Yeah.
I like that.
You can go and sign up for that email course, and it's really very much to get you started with getting LinkedIn to work for you.
Janine, I'd really like to catch up with you again in a few months, find out how that 12-week plan went, and particularly hear more about the productization journey, because I think that's such an important part of running a business in the 21st century. Is yes, you can do your retainer work, but productization is really where growth can come without killing yourself. So I really want to hear more about how that's going. But for the moment, Janine Capaldi from Capaldi Marketing, thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed listening to that as much as I did speaking to Janine. She's great fun, and if you check her out on LinkedIn, you'll find a breath of fresh air. She really stands out. If you run a digital agency, or you're just thinking of stepping out on your own for the first time, then I have something for you. I've been working on a book outline, but from the early notes I've put together a short agency playbook, the 6 keys to unlock success in your digital agency, and it's yours for free. Just visit my website at bobgentle.com and grab your copy. As always, and I don't ask this lightly, please do take a second to review the show on iTunes. You won't imagine the impact this has, but trust me, it makes a massive difference to me and to the show. My name's Bob Gentle. Thanks again to Janine for making the time. Don't forget to check out Capaldi Marketing, and thanks to you for listening. See you next time.